Do you have a team, but you still feel like you're doing way too much? Or maybe you've hired before and you got burned. So now you're gun shy and you've decided, I'm going to do everything myself. Or maybe you have been that solopreneur that got to six figures, maybe multi six figures, and you've been putting off hiring because you feel like they're an expense. And it feels hard to even think about, like, what's the first step to hiring? You're going to love this video, so keep watching, okay? If that is you and you are that solopreneur, I'll bet you any money you're at that breaking point. You know it's time to hire. And so welcome to Bold Moves Friday, where every Friday I drop a short 10-minute training on a hot topic to help you scale your business peacefully. And today I'm sharing the three biggest mistakes that I see women make when building their team. Now, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell to be notified with each of our 2 weekly episodes dropping. All right, mistake number 1, hiring without a strategic plan. Hiring without a strategic plan. You know, you often hear your first hire should be a VA. They just say it like a blanket statement. And they go on to say, these gurus that say your first hire should be a VA, they say she can do everything you need. Everything from email management to social posting to editing your website. She can do it all. But hang on a second. Is that true? I'm here to say no. A VA is not necessarily your first hire, right? There are VAs, there are tech VAs, op VAs, okay, all kinds of different things. So the title doesn't really matter. It's all about skill set. But when I think of VA, the typical VA, they have an administrative skill set. So email management, check. Keeping you organized, check. But web editing and social posting, not necessarily, right? So before hiring, you need to assess what you're currently doing that needs to be delegated to somebody else. You write those down, then you look at those tasks, and then you determine, what skill sets are required to do that work? And so I got you. If you're like, what? I got to write that down. Listen, you don't have to. Down in the description, you can grab my Dream Team Protocol. This is the first step for you determining the tasks that need to be delegated and the role you need to fill based on skill set. Okay, that was mistake number 1, doing it without a strategy. Okay, mistake number 2 is hiring for too many hours right from the start. Do you know that there is a difference between an employee and an independent contractor? There's legal stuff, which I don't have time to get into right now, but here's what I want you to hear. If you have not yet hired, right? Or if you've been burned before and you're gun shy on it, here's what you need to know. You can hire somebody for like 2 to 4 hours a week. And it's a really great way for you to, especially those who haven't yet hired, to get your foot in the water, to get used to this process, this CEO, requirement in the beginning for you to hire and know, like, how do I interview and what questions to ask? And then once they're in, how do I onboard them and how do I lead them and things like that? So don't think you have to go from doing it all by yourself to hiring like full-time employees or even 10, 20-hour a week people. No, you do not have to. I highly recommend that you dip your toe in the water. Don't go jumping in. So don't think you have to hire somebody for lots and lots of hours a week right from the start. It's a big, big mistake. All right, our final mistake number 3 is you not leading your team. Okay, because you need to hear me on this. No matter how much experience a team member has coming in, your responsibility as the CEO is to train them, at least in the beginning, until you have an executive person who can do it, right? Somebody else on your team or some other leader, right? Your responsibility is to train your people and to lead your people into your way of doing things, okay? Now, some of you listening are like, oh my gosh, I would be so embarrassed to hire. Why? Because I don't have SOPs. Because I have it all up here. Great. Then hire people and you maybe do a screen share and show them and then say, go ahead, write an SOP on that. And again, I'm getting into the weeds here, but I just want to impress upon you that you need to lead. Okay. Of course, people you're bringing in may have a better way, a more efficient way of doing these tasks that you're taking off your plate. And they should be encouraged by you to offer that input. But what I find is that, for example, for social media managers, people so often blindly say, well, you have on your resume that you've been doing social media management for years. So, okay, great, have at it. No, don't do that. Don't give them carte blanche. Okay. Your social media needs to reflect you. And so you need to lead them and not just giving them your fonts and your colors. Okay. Your social media person has to understand that it is not just checking a box of posting X number of times a week and doing X number of stories. Their job as social media manager is to drive leads into the business. So you could have very pretty posts and you could have stories that are really like again, pretty and awesome, but do they reflect your voice, right? That takes some time for someone to know your voice, know your isms, know your philosophy, know your methodology, right? Know your speak, okay? And so the point is, they say a lot of times, social media managers, look, I know what I'm doing, I'll take it over. But they need you to help them to understand your voice, your brand. And importantly, they need to understand it's not just getting these things done and posted. Okay. Don't pat yourself in the back for doing that. That's just your job. Your responsibility as you own social media, you're telling this to your social media manager, is to drive leads into the business, because no matter how pretty your stuff is, if it's not bringing in the right people, like what's the point, right? So inside my Miraculous Mastermind, I work with my clients to create KPIs, which are key performance indicators that establish these revenue driving results that they need to achieve, the social media manager in this example, on a weekly and a monthly and a quarterly basis. And so if, as you're watching this, you are a multi-six or six-figure service-based business owner, and you would like to know more about KPIs and how they allow your team to be not an expense, but an investment, go ahead and comment KPI below. All right, well, I hope this is helpful, and I will see you next Friday for another Bold Moves Friday.